Hello, this is Professor Kim Nelson with the Jewelry Design Department at the Fashion Institute of Technology, part of our continuing tutorial series on basic Rhino JD138. Hi class. Picking up where we left off. I understand that this can be frustrating to follow, but it's important to do. It's important to see the kinds of challenges you'll face. What Rhino does not want to... Now, I could model, the form I'm trying to model, I could model very easily by itself. I could model a nice soft cap for this. Not a problem. The challenge comes in making a nice soft cap that comes smoothly off of this shape. I built the whole ring, and now I have to make a soft, blunt end off of existing geometry. Whenever you have to work with something that's already in place, that's why they say that doing renovation on a house costs twice as much as building a new one. Whenever you have parameters already in place that you have to work with, it makes your job more difficult. What Rhino is resenting is this corner. This corner it's not thrilled with. This corner it hates, because you have this big elbow shape here, and Rhino's not comfortable dealing with it. There are options available to me. First off is to see, do I need the big elbow shape? Could I lose it? As a matter of fact, I could. So, knowing that Rhino resents the big elbow here, I can taper that off. That will help. The other thing that's complicated is that I have some very complex curves here. If you look at these, it's a 45.5th degree curve. It's a poly curve. Okay? This one down here is much more modest. Alright. So I could rebuild this curve, and that would help. I could run this curve all the way down to here and do a surface along here, but I'm going to lose my smoothness, and the smoothness is really important to me. So what I'm going to do is rid myself of the elbow. Bring my setting in and see at what point, extract an iso curve here, at what point it's no longer really important to me to maintain this kind of upward bearing that I have going. And it's about right there. So I am going to explode this. See, it's 5 curves. I'm going to trim this one off. And I am going to trim this off right here. So I can have a nice soft curve from here to here. I'll do the adjustable one. Now see, I grabbed the bottom end of that. That's not Rhino's fault, that's mine. Could I click at the top end? There. I'm going to use that neat symmetrical thing I just learned about. Hold the shift key down. Make sure that object snaps are disabled and grid snap is off so they don't hook me up. And that's a much friendlier piece of curvature for Rhino to work with than I had before. I'm going to join these together. Okay. I'm going to rebuild them to make a single curve out of it. I'll keep that 5th degree curvature going because that's what's happening down below. And I'm going to have to take that up to maybe 45. Yeah. Looks the same, but it's not 5 different curves. It's one. Rhino will prefer that quite a bit. And now I'm going to try sweeping it. First rail, second rail. Oh, hang on. First rail, second rail. First section, second section, third section. That's already quite a bit better. Rhino would still prefer it not to have any bulbousness at all up here. Isn't terrible. You'll notice when I did that command, I'm going to do it again so you can see it. Rails and sections. That Rhino tells you that it's going to go from on the position on the rail curves. You can get it to take tangency off of surfaces if your rails are the surface. Okay? What that means is this. If I wanted to, I could use these surfaces. Make sure the arrows point the right way. That edge of that surface and that edge of that surface as my rails, and use these as my cross sections. I'm not going to get to keep that curve. And that'll allow me to keep the tangency, but it's going to go crazy on the end. I would like to keep that tangency. I would like to keep the control here, if at all possible. I would like to keep the tangency to this surface here. I want smooth, smooth, smooth. Okay. Can trim that away. I would like it to be tangent to this. I'd like it to be tangent to everything, if that were an option for me. And it is. But we are about to go into a much higher level of technology. Rhino's most sophisticated tools. I've gone back into the top setting. I'm going to mirror this little red surface and all these curves over to the other side. I'm going to extract and delete that surface. I'm going to pull an ISO curve from here to here. I had it at one point. Not certain when it got deleted, but I'm going to bring it back. Bring it right onto the ends of this cross-section curves using that end object snap. I'm going to trim it off with the rails. And now I'm going to go through the trouble of resurfacing the whole tip using a command called surface from curve network. Surface from curve network allows you to have unlimited rails or sections in either direction. It also allows you to have tangency relationships between your new surface and the old surface. When you first discover this tool, you begin to ask yourself, why did anybody ever use any other tool? Because it has so many options. That's why. It has too many options, and it also creates a soft surface. A surface that doesn't feel firm or rigid. So you would never get this nice, crisp kind of mechanical feel that you're getting from these fillets and extrusions. It's going to give you a much kind of, I guess, mushier, for lack of a better word, surface. But it's a surface you can have tremendous control over. It's a very soft surface. So Curve network. It just asks you to select the curves in your network. You should select them as if you were doing a multiple rail sweep. So I'm going to select this curve and this curve as though they were rails. Select all the curves in one direction, and then I'll select curves in the opposite direction. I want the surface of that edge of that surface, this curve, and the edge of that surface. And now it comes up and it tells you, okay, this is what we're going to give you. You have tangency from edge A, position on curve B, tangency on point C. So it's going to be tangent to those two surfaces. And there's our surface. Going to try doing the same command using the edge of this little surface, the edge of that surface, the edge of the fillet surface, this one curve, none of those, this one, the edge of that fillet surface. Okay, there's our network. And Rhino says everything's a tangency, which is true. And isn't that a lovely surface? Mirror that to the other side. Going to join these all together. Going to mirror the whole cap across the ring. Can delete that. And I'm going to join the shank to the cap. Oh, hang on. Obviously that shouldn't have gone solid. It went solid because this is capped. Forgot to extract this little surface here. It flashed and went dark again, meaning it is now a solid. I want to definitely keep this set of curves because I went through a lot of work to generate them, group them together, put them on my storage curves layer. These curves aren't important. I do want a copy of this. Using my grid snap so I can get it back exactly where I want it. I'm going to put this on the storage object layer. It is kind of interesting because you can see